What's up, guys? Here for the week 2 review. To start off things, I have my matchup with Matt. Matt was able to beat me this week, 131 to 121. Matt has Patrick Mahomes, so that early round draft pick did put up some good points. Got him 28. Calvin Ridley continues to dominate. His back-to-back weeks with 2 touchdown games. 26 points out of him. Deontay Johnson playing well with 19. He got Miles Sanders back in his lineup. Miles Sanders is healthy this week. Had a solid game with 19. Not much else going on there. Washington defense gave up 30 points. Only got him a point. Nothing really to speak of on his bench. Ronald Jones got saved by scoring a touchdown. Otherwise, would have had a very lackluster day for him there. And obviously, you got lucky with Jared Cook. Got 2 catches and a touchdown. That was enough to beat me. Obviously, last night I had the Saints defense and Emmanuel Sanders, and Saints defense gave 34 points to the Raiders. Little unforeseen for myself. Obviously, people may have thought things a little differently there. I thought they would perform better, and of course, I have Emmanuel Sanders on my team, who I thought was going to be a fill-in for Michael Thomas. I mean, obviously, I don't expect Michael Thomas-like numbers, but I expected close to 8 to 10 targets. Hopefully 70, 80 yards and a touchdown. But got 3 targets, 1 catch, no touchdowns. So tough matchup there. I mean, all in all, my team played pretty well. Outside of Devontae Adams, who had an injury in that game, and I think he'll be okay. Didn't really need to come back there blowing him out. I mean, CEH could have performed a little better, but I think the Chargers have an underrated defense. Good game out of my kicker. Hayden Hurst got his first touchdown with the Falcons. Obviously, Matt Ryan killed it for me at quarterback. Had James Conner on my bench, who outscored Mark Ingram. That was kind of who I was battling with there. News came out that Connor and Snell were going to be splitting time, which didn't happen. Glad to see Connor play well. It didn't cost me the win, as it wasn't enough to take me over the hump. So at least I'm kind of happy with that, because if it would have, if I'd have lost by 5 or less, I'd have been kicking myself not making that decision there. But it is what it is. I'll move on. Obviously, I'm 0-2, so it. Got to start winning, or I'm going to be in that consolation bracket, and I haven't seen that in quite some time. Next matchup we have is 2 very high-scoring teams this week. Garrett, number 2, had 158, and Jason had 144. Jason was led by Dak, who killed it this week. Tyler Higbee with the big performance, 3 touchdowns. McLaurin had 22. Nice day out of him. Obviously, to be able to put up that kind of points without his first round pick, Michael Thomas, there is somewhat impressive. I'm looking at the rest of his team. David Johnson didn't do anything versus the Ravens. Obviously, a lot of teams aren't going to be able to do anything against the Ravens. Play Latavius Murray. I'm not sure how many carries he had. It doesn't say on here. I'm not going to dig into it, but only 14 rushing yards there. Did have 2 catches for 19. Tyreek Hill had a nice day with a big touchdown, and nothing else there. His defense and his kicker, not too great. Looking over here at Garrett, number 2, Kyler Murray with a big day with 32. Zeke had a nice day along with Jonathan Taylor. Metcalf got the big touchdown over Gilmore. I thought it was risky playing Metcalf this week. I have him in another league and benched him because I knew he was going to be matched up with Stephon Gilmore majority of the game. And his touchdown came on Gilmore. He beat him, and Gilmore still had pretty good defense. It was just a wonderful throw by Wilson. Just dropped it right in there, and Metcalf was able to take it home. Robbie Anderson had a decent game. Couldn't get in the end zone, but had over 100 yards receiving on 9 catches. I think he's been a little bit of a bright spot for that offense, obviously outside of McCaffrey, who's going to be out for a little bit. But Anderson's been a little bit of a surprise this year. Kelsey had a nice game. Colts defense was 17 points for him. That pisses me off. I had the Colts defense in a league. and I dropped them after week 1, and then they go on and do this shit. I mean, had Mike Gesicki on the bench, who had 23 points. So nice day out of them. Nothing else going on here. Next up, we got Josh, who is a surprising 2-0, versus Derek, who is a not surprising 0-2. It was 132 to 104. Josh has Russell Wilson. Just talked about that dime he threw to Metcalf. Well, he threw 4 other touchdowns in that game for a total of 5 to really pile it on there. Darren Waller was killing it last night. I watched the first half of the game. Seemed like every fucking play they were throwing the ball to him, and the Saints couldn't stop him at all. He had 12 catches for 103 and a touchdown. Josh was able to win despite having James White in his lineup. Normally, I would give people shit for playing a player who was inactive, but as we all know, that inactive status came out probably late Sunday. I mean, by the time it was likely too late to make a change, unless he had players on his bench available Sunday night or Monday night. Obviously, James White's parents were in a really bad car accident. His dad passed away, and his mom's in critical condition, so he had more important things to tend to than to play in the football game. So, obviously thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. And, nice to see Josh still able to pull out the win despite that unfortunate news for one of his guys. Defense and kicker both had double digits. Obviously, that to me seems to be like a recipe for success. A little bit surprising Derrick Henry didn't destroy the Jaguars. Obviously, the Titans won, but it was a fairly close game. Henry had 84 yards, no touchdowns. A little shocking to me there. Nothing else to really speak of. Sammy Watkins I believe he got hurt in the game. Only had 1 catch. I'm not a big fan of Watkins myself. Obviously couldn't play Godwin. He's in concussion protocol. Was on his bench. Nothing else to really speak of there. Looking at Derek's team, Drew Brees may not have it anymore. Only had 14 and a half here, 312 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Clearly isn't throwing the ball down the field any longer. Just looked, he honestly looked a little old last night. So we'll see if he can turn that around. Big loss for Derek. Saquon Barkley, obviously we all know he tore his ACL, so he's out for the season. Gonna be gonna be rough there. Melvin Gordon had a decent game. John Brown with a nice game. Raheem Mostert also got hurt in the game, so he's going to be out probably a few weeks as well. So losing probably 2 of your top 3 running backs is going to be rough to overcome. Already has Galladay on his bench, who's been out all year hurt. Kittle was out this week hurt, so his team is just loaded with injuries. Obviously, luckily this year we have 3 IR spots, so you can move guys over there and pick up people. Obviously, we expanded the IR spot for COVID, but I have no way of monitoring that. I'm not going to micromanage everybody's team to make sure those extra players have COVID or not. No player has been diagnosed with it yet or tested positive for it. So obviously use them however you like to, help your team. Next up, we have Michael. He literally almost doubled Dalton's points this week. It was 159 to 87. Dalton, the defending champ, is 0-2. Obviously, it's a little tougher picking at the last pick of the draft, but I think his team's pretty decent. I expect him to turn it around. It's just, shit happens sometimes. Obviously, Michael's team went crazy. Aaron Jones with 43. Diggs had 25. Double digits out of the Ravens defense and kicker, 15 and 16. Nice there. Shit, he has a lot of fucking Ravens on his team. He's got Mark Andrews, too, who didn't do shit this week. Decent performances out of most of his guys, except the ones I mentioned who had huge days. He has Malcolm Brown, who I think fractured his pinky. They say he'll play this week. My guess is I think he had surgery on it. He'll probably have some kind of protector or a cast on that hand. I'm not sure which hand the fracture is on. Obviously, I'm assuming he's right-handed, so you hope it's on the left hand because he probably carries the ball and catches majority, with his right hand to lead the way there. Nothing going on the bench here for Michael. Looking at Dalton's team, Stafford, okay game. Obviously, I think Stafford's a solid quarterback. I own him in the other league some of us play in. I expect his numbers to get better once he gets his number one receiver back, Galladay. That should really help things out there. Drake and Mixon, each with 10 points, but no touchdowns out of either one. I think I own both of them in the other league as well. So obviously, me and Dalton have some similarities in some of the players we like to acquire. Allen Robinson, a shitty game, 5 points. Will Fuller didn't have I don't even think he had a target in the fucking game. Obviously, playing the Ravens is very tough. I know he's always dealing with some kind of injury, so I'm sure that might have played a little bit of a part in it too. But tough to see him get 0. Like, I don't care how tough the matchup is. You expect to at least get like a few catches for like 10 yards. But it is what it is. AJ Green got hurt in the game. I believe he came back. But he's been getting targeted quite a bit from Joe Burrow. He's his favorite receiver. Just the two of them just can't seem to put it together. Did have Kareem Hunt on the bench, who had a nice game with 23. Joe Burrow on the bench, who had a nice game with 25. So could have got some more points there, but I mean, he played, I think, the highest scoring team this week, so it wouldn't have made a difference. Up next, we got a little bit of a closer matchup. KC beat Garrett. It was 116 to 107. KC led by Lamar Jackson, who didn't really have a great game for himself. Just the 17.5. Nick Chubb, had a huge day with 26. Lockett had a nice game with 16. CeeDee Lamb, a big game, 14.5. Had 6 for 106. Brandon Cooks even played okay. 12 points out of Cooks is better than I expect. Clearly, my expectations aren't very high for him. Defense got him -1. Kicker got him 12. Had Kerryon Johnson on the bench, who had a touchdown. Also, Cam Newton on the bench, who had 34.5 points. So could have got some better play there. Obviously, if you got Lamar Jackson, you're playing Lamar Jackson. But at least he's got a solid backup there. Nothing else to speak of on his bench. He's got Gronk and Eric Ebron as his tight ends. Not really sure what's going on there. Neither one of them probably deserved to be rostered, to be honest. Todd Gurley's still struggling a little bit. Only had the 6 points there. Looking at Garrett's team, Tom Brady, he's not a good fantasy quarterback anymore. Only the 8 points there. Kamara had a huge day, 34 points last night. If he could have got maybe another touchdown, may have helped Garrett take it over the top in the win here. Peterson, nothing out of Peterson this week. Obviously, he's in a running back by committee with Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. So I mean, he's probably gonna have up and down weeks. You're never gonna know when to play him and not to play him. Hopkins had another decent game. Obviously not as decent as the first week, but him and Murray continue to connect. Adam Thielen had 3 for 31. Cousins played like complete shit. I believe that those 3 catches came on the first drive of the game, so not a catch the rest of the game. So a little disappointing. Michael Gallup's been struggling this year. Only 2 catches, 58 here with the 7 points. Noah Fant had a decent game. Obviously with Cortland Sutton tearing his ACL and being out for the season. Fant likely is going to see more targets. Unfortunately, it's not going to come from Drew Lock. It's either going to come from Jeff Driscoll or Blake Bortles. So we'll see how that works out for him. Had Fournette on the bench, who had a nice game. It's tough to say after the first week he should have put him in there. So that could really go either way. Had Edelman on the bench, who had 22. Maybe you play Edelman over Gallup. That I can't see playing Edelman over Thielen or Chark there, but I'm not sure where they were in the rankings before the week, but definitely something to think about there. The last matchup I have here is Kenny versus Dakota. Kenny won this one 134 to 115. Puts both of them at 1-1. Josh Allen is carrying Kenny's team. Had 34.5. 417 yards, 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen's been looking really good this year. But let's keep in mind, they played the Jets and the Dolphins. Not two great teams there. So let's see how he fares once his competition steps up a little bit. Montgomery had a nice game. Cook played decent. Nice game out of DJ Moore. Had Antonio Gibson in his lineup who got a touchdown. Devontae Parker on the bench. Russell Gage on the bench. Jonnu Smith on the bench. All guys who had double digits. Jonnu Smith with a nice game with the 22 points. I'm sure he's going to start playing him over Ingram because Ingram hasn't been playing very well. Julio Jones, just the 2 catches for 24 yards. Obviously, it's Julio. You're playing Julio every week as long as he's healthy. But it seems like Calvin Ridley's really been taking over there. I know some people are like, Calvin Ridley's better now. I'm like, I'm not sure about that. Obviously, teams are putting their number 1 corner on Julio. And obviously, Calvin Ridley's a solid player, but I'm not going to go as far as saying he's better than Julio now. Looking at Dakota's team, Daniel Jones. I mean, he's really having it rough. I mean, he's a solid quarterback, but that team just has obviously losing Barkley. Sterling Shepard's been hurt. Golden Tate's been hurt. Their offensive line isn't very good. It's just very, very tough for him there, and unfortunately Dakota doesn't have another option there. So maybe he'll look to pick somebody up on the waivers, or maybe make a deal with somebody. It's just gonna be tough because he also lost Christian McCaffrey for a few weeks. So making any kind of deal, maybe he'll deal McCaffrey, get a running back, a receiver, a quarterback in return, something. Obviously McCaffrey's gonna be out for a little bit. I mean, I obviously considered trying to make a deal. Obviously my team is 0-2, and I can't really afford to give up a king's ransom to get McCaffrey when you're not going to have him for 4 to 6 weeks, and his bye week is not included in there. He doesn't have his bye week till week 13, so that's another week you're not going to have him. So, I mean, there are chances that you could only have him for 4 weeks of the regular season, essentially. So, big deal there. It looks like Billy Donovan's going to be coaching the Bulls, apparently. Good game out of Mike Evans. Good game out of Carson. Robert Woods got a rushing touchdown, but other than that, didn't do shit. T.Y. Hilton's not looking very good this year. Ertz didn't play well. Scotty Miller had a shit game. Obviously, that's kind of more of a dart throw, given the injuries going on there. Get off here. Nice game out of his kicker, 17. That's a huge game out of a kicker there. Had James Robinson on the bench, who had 19.5. So I could have got some more points there if he had played him in the flex over Scotty Miller. Obviously, James Robinson's going to be in his lineup moving forward with the injury to McCaffrey. And obviously, he's been playing pretty well this year. Obviously, a lot of injuries happened this past week, so there's going to be a lot of people scrambling to get people on waivers. So I expect a lot of people to spend quite a bit of money tomorrow. I look forward to noon to see how everything works out. I'll have power rankings posted here shortly. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and best of luck to everybody this week.